Welcome students. Now there are 7 cervical vertebrae. Now out of these 7 cervical vertebrae, the first, that is atlas, second, that is axis cervical vertebrae, and the 7th cervical vertebra, vertebra prominens. These 3 are atypical cervical vertebrae because they can be identified from rest of the cervical vertebrae. However, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, these are typical cervical vertebrae and they share some identifying features. Now this is the typical cervical vertebra. Here part of this vertebra we already know. This is the body, this is behind the body, this is vertebral foramen, and on each side this is the vertebral arch. Now the body of the cervical vertebra, it is wider side to side, broader side to side than anteroposteriorly. This is superior surface, it is concave, and on each side it projects these margins. This is the uncal processes, while this is inferior surface, which is concave anteroposteriorly and convex side to side. So it is saddle shape. This anterior margin of this inferior surface, it is beveled and it projects downward. These lateral sides of this inferior surface articulate with the uncal process of numerically lower cervical vertebrae to form uncovertebral joint. So these uncal processes, they form uncovertebral joint or joint of Luschka. Now this is anterior surface of body and this is posterior surface of body. Structures attached to this body of the cervical vertebra, these are anterior longitudinal ligament is attached to the superior border and inferior border of this anterior surface. Lateral to this anterior longitudinal ligament, there is longus colli attachment. Longus colli is the muscle. Then posterior surface of this body, it gives attachment to the posterior longitudinal ligament. And the posterior surface, here you can see entry of some of the veins. These are the basivertebral veins. There are 2 foramina for basivertebral veins from the posterior surface of the body. The superior surface and inferior surface, they articulate with the body of the numerically higher and lower vertebra by the intervertebral disc, which is present in between, which is having the annulus fibrosus and nucleus pulposus. This is the secondary cartilaginous joint. Now here you can see vertebral foramina is present posteriorly, which is larger, triangular, and is larger than the body of the cervical vertebra. This is larger in cervical region because it occupies the large neural mass of the cervical spinal cord. On each side you can see this vertebral arch. It is having this pedicle which is directed backward and laterally. This superior notch and inferior notch, these are almost of same length, and together with the numerically higher vertebra, here you can see it is forming this intervertebral foramen. From the intervertebral foramen, there exit the spinal nerve of the same number. So if this is the second cervical vertebra, the above intervertebral notch, here the second spinal nerve will exit. Now here you can see posteriorly, this is the lamina. These lamina are longer and narrower. The upper and lower border of the lamina, they give attachment to ligamentum flava. Then you can see superior articulating facet, inferior articulating facet to form articulation with the numerically higher and lower vertebra. Now you can see this is the transverse process which is showing this foramen transversarium. The foramen transversarium is a cardinal feature of all cervical vertebra. So here you can see, you can identify the cervical vertebra by presence of this foramen transversarium in the transverse process. From this foramen transversarium, or here transmits the vertebral artery, which is surrounded by the sympathetic plexus of nerve and the vertebral vein. This foramen is bounded by the anterior root, then anterior tubercle, then costotransverse bar, then posterior tubercle, and then posterior root. Now out of this anterior structure, that is anterior root, anterior tubercle, costotransverse bar and posterior tubercle, they develop from costal element, while this posterior root, it is developing from transverse element. This costal element is in thoracic region, the ribs develop from this costal element, while in cervical region, these three structure, that is the anterior root, then anterior tubercle, costotransverse bar and posterior tubercle, they are developing from the costal element. Now this anterior tubercle, it gives attachment to three muscles. These are scalenus anterior, longus capitis and longus colli, while posterior tubercle, it gives attachment to scalenus medius, scalenus posterior, levator scapulae and other muscles. The spine, here it gives attachment to ligamentum nuchae and other muscles like interspinalis, semispinalis thoracis, cervicis, spinalis cervicis and multifidus. Now coming to the
bifid, spine bifid.
Spine is bifid in cervical region. Here you can see ending into two rough tubercles. Now here
cervical vertebra, typical features of the cervical vertebra, there is a spine is bifid and there is a transverse process, it is pierced by the foramen transversoria, and the vertebral foramen, it is a triangular. These are the typical features of the cervical vertebra.
Now coming to the ossification, it ossifies from three primary center, out of which one appear for centrum or body and one each appear for the each half of this vertebral arch. Then secondary center which appear after birth, they are appearing for this upper annular epiphysis and lower annular epiphysis of this body of vertebra. So these are two secondary centers, then one each for the tip of transverse processes. So here 1 and 2, so total 4, and then 2 for the bifid spine. So total 6 secondary centers. Complete ossification takes place by 25 years. So this is about the typical cervical vertebra. Thank you.